Atlantis, Houston, Sunnyvale had a good direct check and their command is complete.
Okay, Pierre, we copy. We're proceeding into the IUSPI lock checkout.
Roger that.
A little more than 6 hours after launch, Magellan and its inertial upper stage booster are released from Atlantis' payload bay to begin Magellan's voyage to peel back the layers of the planet Venus. Everyone knew the maiden flight of Endeavour, the successor to the fallen Challenger, would be challenging.
God dang it. Why it's not grounding? I didn't get it.
In the end, it turned out to be exactly that and more, as the crew ultimately made history.
3 spacewalking astronauts in the payload bay of Endeavour and mission specialist Bruce Melnick preparing the arm.
Okay, I'll back it up just a little bit. You get yours, Tom? I can get mine. Okay. Let's do it. Got it. Houston, I think we got a satellite.
Rick Heeb, Pierre Thuet, and Tom Akers salvaged the rescue of the crippled Intelsat satellite, performing the first and to date the only 3-person spacewalk to manually capture Intelsat. After 4 previous trips to repair and upgrade the Hubble Space Telescope, it was time for the shuttle to make one final service call to install new advanced instruments, batteries, gyros, and insulation on the astronomical icon.
Atlantis, Houston for EVA, we have a good aliveness test on RSU-2R. You have a go for RSU-3. Change out.
Following 5 complex spacewalks, Hubble was left virtually brand new and ready for many more years of unprecedented science.
Hubble isn't just a satellite. It's about humanity's quest for knowledge. It's really a sign of the great country that we live in, that we're able to do things like this on a marvelous spaceship like Space Shuttle Atlantis. I want to wish Hubble its own set of adventures, that it may unlock further mysteries of the universe.
After 25 flights and more than 120 million miles of travel in service to the nation and the world, it was time for Endeavour to come home for the final time.
And since the weather's shaping up nicely, we'll go ahead now and give you a go for the deorbit burn.
Copy. Go for the deorbit burn and copy all the weather. Thanks.
With Commander Mark Kelly and pilot Greg Johnson at the controls, the youngest of the space shuttles swooped to its last landing, wrapped in the glory of almost 2 decades of triumph.
You know, the Space Shuttle is an amazing vehicle to fly through the atmosphere, hit it at Mach 25, steer through the atmosphere like an airplane, land on a runway. It is really, really an incredible ship. On behalf of my entire crew, I want to thank every person that worked to get this mission going and every person that's worked on Endeavour. It's sad to see her land for the last time, but she really has a great legacy. Minasan arigato, ite kimasu. Now stand by for the greatest show on Earth.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Shuttle Discovery. Gambate kudasai. Best of luck to the International Space Station's newest laboratory.
The second in a series of flights to assemble the Japanese segment of the International Space Station saw the mammoth Kibo module delivered to the complex compliments of Discovery and its crew on the STS-124 mission.
The Kibo module is open.
Kibo, the Japanese word for hope, would house dozens of experiments and serve as a platform for external payloads brought to the complex on subsequent shuttle flights and the Japanese Konotori H-2 transfer vehicle cargo ship.
The first American to orbit the Earth, U.S. Senator from the state of Ohio, an iconic legend. John Glenn's return to space 36 years after his historic venture aboard Friendship 7 captivated the world.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
He became a guinea pig for dozens of scientific experiments, part of a suite of science conducted by Glenn and his multinational crewmates. Glenn's remarkable flight ended just 2 weeks before the launch of the first element of the International Space Station from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, and 1 month before the start of station assembly.
The Space Shuttle. It has defined an era and broken boundaries both in space and on Earth. Among the hundreds of people that have flown on the shuttle, many have been firsts for their race, their country, or their profession. In 1983, Sally Ride became the first American woman in space on STS-7. That flight also brought us the first doctor in space, Norm Thagard. Later that year, Guy Bluford became the first African American in space on STS-8. In 1985, Ellison Onizuka became the first Asian American to fly in space on STS-51C. And on that flight, Gary Payton became the first military payload specialist to fly on the space shuttle. Mae Jemison became the first African American woman in space on STS-47. That same flight also had a married couple that flew together, Mark Lee and Jan Davis. Ellen Ochoa was the first Hispanic woman to fly in space in 1993. Kathy Sullivan became the first American woman to walk in space in 1984 on STS-41G. In 1995, Bernard Harris became the first African American to walk in space, and the first Hispanic to walk in space was Carlos Noriega in 2000. Jake Garn became the first senator to fly in space on STS-51D. On STS-9, Ulf Merbold became the first international astronaut on the space shuttle, although it would take about 11 years before a Russian would fly. That was Sergei Krikalev in 1994 on STS-60. The first African-American commander of the shuttle was Fred Gregory on STS-33. And the first Hispanic commander was Sid Gutierrez in 1994 on STS-59. And Eileen Collins set 2 records. She became the first female pilot of the shuttle in 1995 and the first female commander of the space shuttle in 1999. As the space shuttle takes its place in the history books alongside other programs like Mercury and Apollo, one of its greatest legacies will be the people who flew on board it. Regardless of nationality, gender, or color, the shuttle flew more people from more walks of life than anything before it.
For the thousands coming to view the launch, the troubles began early this morning. The roads leading to the Space Center were jammed hours before the scheduled liftoff. A trip that normally takes 15 minutes took almost 3 hours.
It was the second time around, but there was no feeling of anticlimax around the Cape this morning. The shuttle had become a symbol. Everyone waiting for liftoff had a personal interest in seeing it go up.
Well, I'd like to be an astronaut, but, it takes a lot of courage, and I'd be scared to go up there right now.
Anybody can see it on TV, but I got the chance to be here live, so I really see it live.
And I've seen more launches than anybody else here. And everyone is just as exciting, but this means more to me than any other, I think.
It was a carnival, a show that will have one run only. But it was more than that. These people were here because they believe in the shuttle, and they wanted to show it.
A few seconds away from switching to the redundant sense sequencer. T-minus 27 seconds. We have gone for redundant set sequencer start. T-minus 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15, 14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
up real good underneath.
Fido says it couldn't be any better. 9,000.
Everything looks real good.
5,020. You're down. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Those here, 10 feet. 5, 4, 3, down. Put the ball, Skipper. So I'll have to take it up for hangar, Joe. We're going to test it out first. This is the world's greatest all-electric flying machine, I'll tell you that. It was super.
This is Mission Control Houston. The unofficial touchdown time, 2 days, 6 hours, 20 minutes, 52 seconds. And as Columbia's main gear touched the lake bed, the flight director's instructions were prepare for exhilaration.
This is Mission Control Houston, taking a look back at some of the milestones of the Space Shuttle program as we look forward to our final landing coming up tomorrow at the Kennedy Space Center. Looking back on that STS-1 mission, you realize that that launch had